Hello, everybody. I am here with Pastor Jay Haizlip, all the way from Orange County, California. And he's not a stranger to many of you who have seen him on television shows, seen him preach. You've seen what God is doing with him. But for those of you especially that have never really heard him just talk about his life and things like that, I want to take a few moments and talk to Pastor Jay Haizlip. And man, thank you for taking the time to get on here and talk to us a little bit today.
Well, it's my honor, Bishop. I'm excited. I'm excited about the conference.
It's going to be an incredible time. And this year, our theme is just one word, which is the word believe. And so let's start there. I want to ask you, how important is what a person believes? I mean, how integral is that to their success in life, the direction that they move? How would you talk about belief?
Yeah. Well, I think God's greatest desire is to be believed, that we would believe that he is fully who he says he is, and that we are who he says we are, and we can do what he says we can do, because I believe that people will never consistently live above a level in which they believe. And wrong mindsets, wrong belief system actually can end up placing limitations on you. It was on a Friday night. I was on my way to make a drug deal. God put a businessman, an entrepreneur, a government leader, he's a mayor. God put this man in my path. And that man stepped out of his world and into my world and began to share with me his experience in his relationship with God in a way I'd never heard anybody talk about God. And as a result of that, I opened up my heart and I had an experience with Jesus. Jesus came into my life. I was born again. And that encounter with God literally opened me up to an entire world that I didn't even know existed. I didn't know God's kingdom existed. I didn't know God could be experienced, and I could live with him. I could tap in to purpose, destiny, all those things here in this world. I didn't know that any of that was possible. I really believe that the harvest is here, it's ripe, it's ready. I believe that this is a great time if we push into it, lean into it. I believe we're going to see, I believe we're just really on the verge of revival, awakening. I believe in awakening. I still believe that entire cities can be won. I believe awakenings can happen. I don't believe it's just something that happened in the Azusa Street outpouring or the Jesus movement or the first Great Awakening, the second Great Awakening, or other great outpourings of the Holy Spirit. I literally believe that God can shift and change cultures.
Yes.
And I believe the environment and atmosphere of entire cities and states or counties and states and nations can be changed. I believe that. Yeah, I started skateboarding when I was, I think I was 10. My mom gave me a skateboard for Christmas, and that literally changed the entire trajectory of my life. That, I just didn't skateboard. I am a skateboarder. I was a skateboarder. It lit a fire on the inside of me, created my identity. It was my whole world. That's all I cared about. That's all I did. And I was fortunate enough to get sponsored by some of the biggest companies in the world, on cover of magazines like Thrasher magazine. And, one of the most iconic pictures in the skateboard world, it just keeps on giving and living, is this picture of me in a pool. It obviously is BC before Christ, but I'm doing this trick in a pool where I'm drinking a beer at the same time. And that thing just keeps on ending up on shirts, on socks, and centerfolds. It just keeps on living. The average age of first-time drug use is 12. 12 years old is the average age that somebody will experience drugs. And so it led me from one thing to the next. And when I was 15 is when I really got introduced to harder drugs. That's when first time I ever did cocaine. And that turned into a 12-year cycle of my life that just nearly destroyed my life. Literally, I lost everything. I don't think I could have gone any lower than what I was and still be alive. And I really probably shouldn't be alive. And I believe the only reason I am alive today is that God has spared my life to tell people they don't have to go where I went to.
Yeah.
And that there is a way out, that there is freedom. You don't have to live like a slave to this thing for the rest of your life. I believe that God has delivered and set me free to remove any excuse from anybody, whether it's heroin or some type of prescription medication or any type of addiction. God has delivered me and put me on a platform to remove anybody's excuses. Nobody can say, well, it can't, God can't, I'm not able, because all God does is put a guy like me in front of them, and it should give them hope that if God will do it for me, God will do it for them. Hey guys, this is Jay Haizlip. I'm so excited about being with Bishop Michael Pitts at the conference. Believe you're going to want to be there. I believe that there are these divine moments that God creates, that when you step into them, you get into position, you receive everything that moment has been designed by God to give you. Believe Conference with Bishop Michael Pitts is just that. I want to see you here.